This year 2026, I'll be turning 35, and honestly, I have mixed feelings because 35 years just feels like that's real adult phase. Lately, it has been making me think about how far I've come with money. So today, I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys on how much I've saved and invested over the course of time and the systems I use to achieve this. If you're new here, my name is Peace, and I'm just a girl who has been sharing her financial journey while taking you along with me. So over time, I've just been sharing everything that works when it comes to personal finance, how to save, how to invest, and all I have done in my journey to building financial freedom. So for a backstory, for those who don't know, because I believe this is the first time I'm talking about this in depth in here, I finished my master's in 2017 and I did this in the UK. But then after master's, I came back to Nigeria because I could not get a job in the UK. So when I came back to Nigeria, I come from a middle class family, so there was really no job waiting for me back here in Nigeria. So during this time, I usually just go to my uncle's office, apply for all the jobs because there was free internet over there, and what could go wrong? I had free AC, free food and everything because I lived with my uncle at the time. But then fast forward later that year, I got a job in a company that claimed to want to produce cosmetic products because I have a background in industrial chemistry. So at this time, I did not really know what to ask for and everything, and I was offered 70,000 naira as my salary, of which I accepted. And if I tell you that half of it was my transport fare, the rest was for me to feed while at work. So I was basically not saving anything. Now this year passed. Luckily in 2018, I got my first main break, which is the job I currently have till now. This job made me see that I could get a better life for myself, a better salary, even though at the starting point I did not make anything, but I just believed in progression of my salary over time. And now I am currently a deputy manager, and I can tell you that I went from receiving 100 and something thousand naira at that time to over 1 million naira monthly. That is a good progression for me. Over the course of time, I've now found that I've done so well with money, but this was not the same at the starting of this my journey. So from 2018 to 2021, this was the point where I started seeing money which I did not used to see before. And interestingly, even when I was receiving 120 something thousand at that time, it felt like big money because one, the economy was better. Two, I was basically just taking care of myself. I had a place where I was staying, so it's not like I was feeding anybody. At this point, I made it a duty to shop on all the online websites you can think of. So I bought everything that I thought I needed because I just got money. So what do you expect of a young girl? This was what happened. For that 3 years, I was basically living paycheck to paycheck, and nobody was questioning me because nobody even knew better, or at least in my circle. But then in 2021, everything changed because I was tired of living from paycheck to paycheck. So January that year, I decided to start writing down every single thing I was spending my money on. And I have this completely intact in my Samsung Notes app because I basically wrote down every single thing I was spending my money on. Not necessarily down to the cup of coffee, but this coffee was also in a category. So I had a budget before my salary was going to come. And every month I would just copy, paste, adjust, and that was how I have been doing it up till this date. But another thing that really happened in that 2021 that really kick-started my investment journey was stumbling on this Instagram page called Wealth Monthly. Wealth Monthly was basically like an individual who would gather people together, tell you about the stocks you have to invest in, and basically giving you all the financial tips on how to invest and every other type of investment. We were talking about this in that platform. But one thing that happened during that time was the fact that I created my first crypto account on Binance. If I tell you that experience of creating a first crypto account, it was both exciting but scary at the same time because I did not really know anything about crypto. And that is why after that my session with World Monthly ended, till date I did not go into crypto because all the money I had invested in that crypto went down the drain. If you don't know about it, don't bother putting your hands into it. And that was what happened to me on my investment journey with crypto. But it was easier to start that time because somebody was advising me on what to do and what not to do. But after that session ended, I basically went back to square zero. And another thing was the fact that I invested in farm sponsor. So you remember that time that agro one thing, there were so many agricultural investments in Nigeria at that point. It happened. Farm sponsor was one of them. And then in this my session with World Monthly, we were investing in that option only for me to invest 100,000 naira. Luckily it was just 100,000 naira because tell me why I lost that money completely. So that was that. farm sponsor failed, crypto failed. It was only stocks that was basically working. And stocks, because most of the companies she was telling us about, I knew about them. So we're investing in companies like Tesla, Amazon, Disney, the companies that are well known worldwide. Not that I knew anything about stocks, because she will give you insights about it, but then basically tell you invest this into this particular stocks. So that is why till date I'm still investing in stocks. But then even with that stocks, we had to have some changes with the investment apps we were investing with. This company that first of all started with Fruitify, it went to another name, and now it is currently Advest. So that was the app I started with, and with that it got to a point where I was like, this app that keeps changing name every day, I'm tired. I need to go to where almost everybody is investing in, and that was where Bamboo now came into the picture. But then I could not remove my money from that vest, so I just left it there. But over time that has still been there. My account is still active. It's just that I've not found a way on how to transfer the money I have on that app, and I've been using Bamboo to invest in both American stocks, Nigerian stocks, and even other options that they keep bringing out every day. But over time I've noticed that the growth of my stocks has been quite gradual. It has not been the most explosive growth, but I can see that there's growth on it, and that is one thing I'm very satisfied with. I don't need immediate growth, but I just want something that will help me know that my money is very secure here. And one thing with all these apps is that they are insured, registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, so it gives me some level of peace of mind. For Vest, who is also registered, my money is still there, but I've noticed that because when I stopped Invest, I was having around like $900 and something to $1,000. And when I checked that app recently, I found out that okay, it has grown to $1,100 and something. That means that the stocks I invested in has grown. And that time I invested in a bunch of stocks, both the ones I knew about and the ones I don't know about, because they were mostly American companies. So I have a lot of random stocks on that Vest app. But for Bamboo, which I was now in control of, most of the stocks I invested in on that place are mostly like well-known companies and a lot of index funds, S&P 500, VOO, like all the well-known index funds. I invest in those ones because I know that my money is more secure there. And recently they also started this allow an investment manager to invest for you, of which I keyed into. So I just put $100 there and left it there so that the investment managers can do their thing and give me results. So that is how far I have come with investing in stocks, investing in failed farm sponsor, investing in crypto that never materialized to anything. That is my background with investing. Now let's come back to real numbers. So for my savings and investment over time, there is something you need to know. Before this year, so 2025, I have been using the 50-30-20 rule for my investments and everything. And in one of my previous videos, I shared about how I have now stepped up from using the 50-30-20 rule because income changes, lifestyle changes will now make you to adjust it to however works for you. And currently this year, I am using 45 for my needs, 40 for my savings and investment, and 15% for my wants. Of which this my needs, somehow I find that the things I want are being taken care of in there, so it basically works. And this new introduction was after having like a conversation about inflation, about the valuation of the naira and everything with ChatGPT, and we came up to this conclusion and it seemed feasible for me, so I decided to adopt it. And with this one, it now means that I have to divide my investment and savings into different buckets. The first one is I have the emergency fund bucket, which I use 12% of my salary for, and for this I use a high yield savings account, PiggyVest. So this is where I put 12% of my monthly income into. But one thing I do differently is that I alternate this month by month with investing in stocks, because I want to diversify my portfolio as much as possible. So instead of just putting the 100,000 naira into stocks, this month, let's say January, I'll put 12% into a high yield savings account, PiggyVest. The next month I'll use that same 12% for investing in stocks. So that is for the 12% out of the 40% I now use for investing and saving. So I alternate this 12% between those two. Now moving on to the next 12%, I use this 12% to invest in mutual funds, which is Stanbic IBTC. I started mutual funds last year, and after investing a high amount as a starting capital, I decided for me to be able to sustain it, I need to be making it a monthly investment, so that it's not only when I have big money that I'll invest. And you know that the more you invest, the more your money compounds. So I decided to add another 12% of my savings out of the 40% into mutual funds monthly. So that is 24% out of the 40%. Now I have 16% left left, which is where it becomes interesting, because from that my conversation with ChatGPT, I found out that the value of Naira is going to be depreciating a whole lot than we thought, or at least in context to the world and how inflation and everything is going on. Because I was one that used to be very, should I say, conservative. Even when I have dollar investments, I preferred to invest in Naira because it felt safe, secure. But this year I decided, okay, let me just try. I have a little bit of dollar savings on PiggyVest, but that does not matter. Now this year I decided, okay, every single month I'm going to be removing 16% of my money to invest in dollar savings, just so that I can have that balance between having a secure value of my savings versus being safe and, you know, investing in Naira. Now, before I start talking about the stocks and the American stocks and Nigerian stocks that I've invested in, trust me, I am not a Wall Street expert, but over time I believe I've gotten some good selection of stocks on my portfolio. So I'm going to be sharing a few of them with you, so that in case if you're one that wants to invest in these companies, you can go ahead, because your girl has seen some real growth in them. Not that I'm giving you financial advice, but I'm just telling you what has been working for me. So here are some stocks, Nigerian and American, that I've invested in over time. For the American ones, your girl has Tesla, Amazon, all the popular ones, even American real estate and all that. And luckily Bamboo has a great collection of these stocks. Both the stocks that Warren Buffett is investing in, the stocks that even Fowles is investing in, is on that platform. So I have a good collection of the most popular ones. But the ones that I feel like are not very popular are those ones like the American real estate, like very niche places that people don't really think about. But if you go to the real estate section on Bamboo, you see so many ones. And real estate is a place that, you know, because it requires a lot of money, sometimes you have to use something called REIT. So REIT is real estate investment trust. So that's where you can start building up your investment portfolio when it comes to real estate, if you don't have the big money to start buying land or start building houses. So now let's come to the Nigerian ones. Your girl has all the popular ones as well, the MTNs, the Dangote, the Boa Food, Boa Cement. Yes, I have a lot. Even Okumu Oil, Presco, and all the oil companies, Seplat, the banks, Zenith, GT, all of them, I have them in my portfolio. So these are some of the stocks I invest in. In all, I use 60% for my needs and my wants, and 40% for my savings and investment. And it has been working so far for me that I now have a good portfolio. I now have a good net worth. Roughly, if I'm to put everything together, I have nothing less than 50 million in investment and savings. To some people, that might be a big amount. To some others, maybe not. But to me, all that matters is the fact that, you know, I've been able to create systems around my money in such a way that I've come from basically nothing to where I am now. And that system, if applied consistently, will still take me further. And with me wanting to diversify my investment, create business opportunities, create products that are going to aid my journey, I feel like I'm on the right path. Because if I'm just waiting for one big cash, I'm not going to achieve anything. But luckily, I've been able to invest in real estate, stocks, high yield savings accounts, mutual funds, everywhere. You know, that treasury bills, if I tell you, like, I've basically shared with you guys all my treasury bills on this place, and all this round up to about 50 million naira, and I want more, your girl wants more. So this year I'm really hoping that before the end of the year I start that business idea that I've been having in my mind, or at least the products materialize, because I have a product in mind and it's something that looks viable for Nigerian market. So I'm really hoping to start that, and that will definitely up my income. So at the end of the day, in the 35 years of my life, I was able to achieve all these things I've talked about because I basically created systems around my savings, investments, being disciplined, being consistent. Even when that month I will say, let me not just save, let me use this money for something pressing, but then I always make up for it. And over time, that is what has brought me to this place where I can say I'm having a net worth of 50 million, and these are investments in places that are bound to appreciate over time. Because tell me why I'm buying a land for 2.5 billion naira last 2 years, and that land is already at 15 million naira valuation. That is me not even adding it to the 50 million naira net worth or anything, because I basically use only the base value of these investments to calculate my net worth, because you are not really sure of what is going to happen. But when it comes to real estate, it has prospects. And this year I've added another one to my portfolio. This one I bought it at 8 million naira. That was quite a lot of money, but I had to make that move so that I know that I have a good balance in my real estate investments. So I can say that I'm well prepared for my future, and I am a girl that believes that I can never lack. So luckily I've been able to create systems that will make me never to lack. So let me me hear from you in the comments. What do you think about this? Is 50 million naira a high net worth to have, or do you feel it's still a very small amount, especially when it is mostly in naira and not in dollars? Let me know if you are willing to share. I would also love to hear from you. What is your net worth? What do you want to achieve this year? Is investing something that is fun for you, or is it something that you're just doing just to secure a financial future for yourself? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. I'll see you guys in my next one. But while at it, before you leave this video, please go and check out this other one right here, because it is definitely helping your journey to financial freedom. Your girl does not make anyhow videos. It is videos that are tailored for you and you alone. I'll see you guys in my next one. Make sure to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and annyeong.